Hello everyone, this is the Undying Nephilim, and today I am going to show you guys the thing that I and Ascaris and Exodarian have been working on for the last several months. And if you've been paying attention on the ModDB page, the thing we've been working on is turning bases into nodes. Now, what exactly does that even mean? Well, if any of you are familiar with the Battle for Middle-earth, you have some idea of what is going on. So, originally, Hyrule Conquest was kind of like Age of Empires, where you make your you have your town center, and then you have a bunch of workers, and then you use your workers to manually place buildings in a sloppy, trappy way, and then you use the workers to gather resources and all of that good stuff. However, if you have played the Battle for Middle-earth, it doesn't quite work that way. In Battle for Middle-earth, you start out with your town center, just like in Age of Empires, but you kind of have a sort of preset base with a bunch of little plots that you build your structures on. And the resources is all handled automatically, so you don't have to manually order your workers to gather resources. Just all the resources at the node get gathered. And that is exactly how Hyrule Conquest is going to function now. And there are several reasons for this. The main reason I personally want to do this change is because of the minor faction system that I really want to add into the game. Kind of depends on it to work like this. And then there are other reasons. In Exo's case, the AI is way more simple to handle. In fact, when we release this sometime in the next few weeks, you'll notice pretty much every faction's AI works, with only several exceptions, whereas before only several factions worked and most of them didn't in regards to their AI. So the AI is a lot easier to handle. Another advantage to this node system is it makes map design way easier, because since everything is based on nodes, you can kind of sort of get a feeling for where the action on a map is going to take place, and you can design set pieces around the nodes and things like that. So it makes map design a lot easier too. And there's a bunch of other little reasons for why we want to make this change, on top of the fact that the Battle for Middle-earth is probably one of my favorite games ever made. So that is a list of several reasons why we made this change. And I guess I will start to go into detail about how this works. So, as I mentioned, all the factions kind of start out with a little preset base that has walls around it. Here's the Hylian one. And then up here on the other side is the Gerudo one. So every faction's base has different designs and different features. Some of them have more plots, some of them have less. Some of them start with walls, some of them don't. Some factions don't even use the nodes in the same way as others. Some factions, their bases are entirely made from ruins and not nodes, which I'll get to ruins in a bit because they're really, really important to this whole system too. So I guess before I start constructing a little base here, I'll actually go over the types of nodes. So obviously the big node that you start out with is the settlement node, which lets you make these large bases here. And then right here we have a camp node, which is like a very small base that has several plots that you can build. Right here is a resource node. In this case, it's a lumber node. So when you build your little lumber camp here, it'll start gathering all the trees around it. And then over here, we've got a little mining node, which when you build your little mine here, it'll start gathering the ore and the stone, or rupees if there's a rupee deposit. And then can't really see the node here because there's something on it, so I'll come back to that a little bit later. But up here, we have the wonder node, which is where you guys will have to build your wonders in order to get a wonder victory. Down the road, these nodes will have a giant boss on them that you have to fight in order to build your wonder, so that'll be awesome. And then in addition to nodes, there are also ruins, which I mentioned a bit ago, which here's a ruin right here. This is a large ruin, and you'll notice above the ruin this little graphic of rupees rising from it, and that is because when you capture ruins, they generate rupees. And ruins are the main source of rupees in the game. So if you want rupees, you're going to have to capture ruins. There are other sources of rupees, but ruins are the main one. So there's big ruins, and then there's also small ones over here. And if you're playing as a ruin faction, such as the Stalfos or the Lizalfos, your bases will be made from these anyway, so yeah. And then in addition to all the nodes, some nodes will have layers on them. As you can see right here, there's this layer that spawns the little levers. You'll have to destroy this layer in order to spawn the node that lets you build a little base. And then down here we have an even bigger one, full of a bunch of Arakas. Now, these creatures aren't actually supposed to be on the Gerudo Desert map, but I'm using them as a placeholder for the time being because I need to model and animate a bunch of new creatures for all of these layers. But once you destroy this layer here, it'll spawn the little the big outpost node that lets you make a big base down here. So yeah, that is a look at some of the nodes. I'll go ahead and capture this node up here and then build a little base on it. So in order to capture a node, you just bring your units to it, and then you'll see the little progress bar go up until it's captured. And then when it's captured, you can see various things you can build here. As a Hylians, I can build a lumber mill here. And if this node has exhausted all of its resources, I could build a house. But I'll go ahead and build the lumber mill. And then it'll just build the lumber mill. And it's pretty much that simple. I'll go ahead and capture that one down there. And I'll capture the mining one up there. And then while they're doing that, I'll start to build a nice little base here. So I'll build a little market. And a barracks. And a nice little Hylian church. And I'll just do that for now. Other things you can do with your bases now are the walls, or the little towers on the walls on the outside. You can upgrade with different types of turrets. So I can upgrade this tower with little scorpion turrets, which is pretty awesome. And this one up here, I'll go ahead and upgrade with a bunch of archers. And then I'll go ahead and build the little mine there. And I'll build a camp on the camp node. And now all these bases are done. Something else you'll notice when you build, when you start building up your bases is little civilians will start spawning and walking around your base and do stuff. If you build the marketplace, there's a chance that the little girl that chases the cuckoo will spawn and run around, which is pretty great. I really like that. And then I can see 2 Hylian civilians that probably spawned from the church there walking around. And this will be the case for all the factions. Every faction will have their own variation of civilians that'll wander around their base and do stuff. And eventually I'll have people actually shopping at the marketplace, talking to the vendors and buying stuff. It's going to be really awesome. So there's just going to be so much detail packed into your bases now. And as you can see, like when you build the barracks, it connects the little rope with the flags to the center base. As you'll see with Zora bases, little aqueducts will connect all of the buildings to the reservoir in the center. And there's just so much detail that wasn't possible with the old style of making bases. So yeah, I really, really like this system. It's pretty awesome. And now I've got my little camp here. So as you can see, the camp is smaller than the really big base. So you can't build quite as much, but you can still build a few things here. So I'll go ahead and do that. We'll build a blacksmith and a nice little guard tower. And yeah, as I mentioned earlier, you can upgrade the towers to be manned with some cool defenses. So right here we got a bunch of guys with little Scorpios. And yeah, I guess I will go attack one of those lairs with a little army. So let me go ahead and make some units. And actually, let me turn instant build on so we don't have to wait forever for them to all train. So let me restart the training process. There we go. Now we'll have a clown car of troops coming out of the barracks all at once. Alrighty, so we'll get all these guys to go and attack that Araka lair. And I'll go ahead and make some archers too. Awesome. I like when I turn instant build on and then just all of them come out at the same time like a little clown car. Alrighty, so let's get my army together. And let's go attack this lair down here. Alrighty, I'll go ahead and speed the game up a little bit so that they get here faster. And then let's go destroy this lair down here. This should be pretty quick. We have quite a lot of units. You guys just go right after the lair. I'll let the archers take care of all the rocks. And when you destroy the lair, the little outpost node spawns, and then I can make an outpost here, which I have instant build on, so I'll go ahead and do that. And it just builds it instantly. So there's a nice little outpost, which the outposts are the medium-sized bases, which have less plots than the starting base, but more than the camp. And I think that's pretty much it as far as the nodes go. They're not super complicated, so this video actually ended up being a little shorter than I expected, but that's pretty much the basics. I guess I'll go ahead and capture the Wonder Node so you guys can maybe see the Temple of Time. Just turn the game speed to ×20 so they get up there really fast. Of course, they're being attacked by levers. I'll go ahead and build the Temple of Time. And there's the Wonder, which you will have to defend if you want to get a Wonder victory. But that also leads me to one more point before I end the video, is you no longer make your Titans at your Wonder. You now summon your Titans through an ability at your Civil Center. So I'll go ahead and demonstrate that really quickly. If you click on your Civil Center, you'll notice that the Hylian Titan is now right there after the heroes. So you click on that. And then anywhere in your territory, you can summon your Titan. So I'll go ahead and summon Fee, I guess. That is right here. And then it'll slowly summon your Titan, kind of like in the Battle for Middle-earth when you summon the Balrog. And yeah, that's how you make Titans now. You summon them as opposed to training them from the Wonders. Because, Wonders are tied to a victory condition, and I don't necessarily want the Titans to also be tied to that particular victory condition. I want players to be able to summon them even when they're not playing a Wonder victory game and they just want to do a normal conquest victory. But anyway, that was a quick look at the node system, which is the new method of making bases in Hyrule Conquest. I'll have a release sometime in the next, I want to say, 2 or 3 weeks. The patrons have been testing the nodes out, and the feedback on it's been mostly positive. There's still a few bugs that are being fixed, but they seem to like it. So if you're a patron, you can actually go ahead and download this now to give the nodes a test if you want. But if you're not a patron, just wait several weeks and I will have a slightly more polished version of this available on ModDB. And you guys can go ahead and experiment and have fun with this, hopefully. Hopefully the system of constructing bases will make the game run better too. That was another reason we ended up deciding to go with this, because workers were actually causing a bit of performance issues. But now that there's not hundreds of workers everywhere, it frees up more of the system to have more troops on screen before the game starts to tank in the frame rate, since LODs aren't in the engine yet, which hopefully they'll add them soon. But anyway, I think that is about it for today. Hopefully you guys are looking forward to this, and hopefully if you're not sure what you think of this, you can give it a try when it releases, and hopefully you guys will like it. But anyway, that's it for now, and I'll see you guys in the next video.
Hey, listen!